Lab 4 is setting the brush neutral on a DC machine. This is the DC machine, DC motor generator. If we open the front panel, we can see that the brush gear is attached right here. And we can shift this, the full length of travel. And this has the effect of changing which segments you're connecting to. The reason for this is if we had a shunt field going across the motor like this, we would want to connect to the wires that are in the thickest part of that, densest part of that shunt field, of the magnetic flux. So we would want to have the brushes in the right position. If the brush gear got shifted and our brushes moved up the conductors that they are connected to out of that flux field, and then our motor is not going to work at all or nearly as well. We'll develop very little power and we'll be arcing and sparking on the commutator and burn out the brushes. So the basics of the lab will be, you're going to connect it. You will put power to the shunt field and hang an analog voltmeter off the armature. You'll be getting a low voltage here. And then you'll simply flip the power on and off. And this will generate a little kick of voltage, which you will then measure on this ammeter. The needle will deflect. And it looks like this. I'd zero that a bit. If you plug in, it's a very low voltage, connect to plus and minus, set it to the 1 volt. This means it's 1 volt full scale. So if we look at the scale, 1 volt is there, 1.0. That would be 0.8, 0.6, 0.4, and so on. The theory is, move the brush gear all the way to the left. Watch the needle, how much it moves. Move it all the way to the right. You may have to reverse the polarity of your meter if it moves the wrong way. And then it will jump in the opposite direction. Then you start moving it back towards the center. Keep flicking the switch off and on. And as you approach the brush neutral, the needle will move the least amount or not at all. And you keep going until it starts to increase again. And then you go back to the spot where the lowest point was. That is your brush neutral. To test this, you then wire up the motor as per the lab sheet, and you run it. Set your rheostat to about 50%, and once you hook it up and wire it, you just turn it on and run it. Turn this on, and when it starts up, it will give you the speed. Without changing any settings, any voltage, or anything in the field rheostat, simply reverse the motor. You can either reverse the armature or the shunt field, but not both, and it will run in the opposite direction. If the speed is the same or almost the same, then you're done. You've got it on the brush neutral. If you're not on the brush neutral, the speeds will be different. That will get you started on Lab 4.